This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
We're back, Alphas.
We're back at the 106 for round two. We got so many great guests that we couldn't fit it all in.
We're here at the pod, baby. We're doing some great stuff for you, so
Let's get it started.
Alphas, we are here with the beautiful Austin from MandatoryFunDay. And we're here to share a little bit about what we got going on here today. How you doing, man?
We're doing good. We're having a lot of fun. It's always great coming out and doing things with the American Legion, interacting with the veterans, and just seeing the projects that we have working on.
And there's always good food. And that's what makes me happy.
I think there's only one booth of food, Joe, but you tell me where all the food is.
All the food. There's burgers in the corner. I've had burgers there twice, and I've been happy both times. You can't mess up with a burger.
Yeah, the food is good.
Well, it's been a minute.
You what?
Oh, okay.
Super producer Holly is in the background, and the hand gestures sent off a flurry of activity on her monitor.
What
so
is this one? No, I'm just kidding.
ADD, I got distracted. No, but we're in Tampa. First impressions, Tampa.
Go Bucks.
And
go Bucks.
Oh, God, I love it. I haven't been to Florida that many times. I spent a little bit of time in Destin, the Shalimar area. But I love it here. It's beautiful. We've had a lot of rain, which reminds me of home. I'm from Oregon. So that's been kind of nice. But everybody's been so kind. Everybody's been great. And it's just been fun interacting with people.
Well, it's been a minute since we had you on the podcast, so catch us up. What's been going on in your world?
Yeah, I bought a house.
Great.
So yeah, I got a
What's the address?
I got a
full
I want to send you a
was that a refrigerator box, or are we talking like
send you
legit?
some packages.
So I got a house. I got a 5-bedroom, so each of my daughters has their own bedroom. I let them pick the colors of the room, so it's very bright, very shockingly bright. One of my daughters wanted orange walls, so that was funny. But yeah, other than that, I've just been, we've been doing events. We've been working on a couple projects. We did the Check Your Six Pack podcast with Diesel Jack Media. That's been a lot of fun. I think it's going to be really impactful, and I'm really just looking forward to more things with the Legion. Specifically the Army Navy game. That's probably the biggest thing we've got coming up. That's gonna be a blast. We had so much fun last year.
So much fun.
Crazy
Too much fun.
Too much fun.
It was not too much fun. It was a professional, normal level of fun.
I talked so much crap to everybody about how bad the Army was going to win, only to be humiliated. Thanks a lot, West Point.
Yeah, you got to bring it this time, West Point.
Yeah, man.
So tell me about the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the Check Your Six Pack podcast, it centers around people that have problematic drinking. And it's funny, at one point I had a really unhealthy relationship with alcohol myself. I got it under control in my mid to late 20s, and now I have a healthy relationship with it. But it was really cool talking to people and just hearing their stories, and not just people that had problematic drinking behaviors themselves, but people that have been impacted by it. People that have been, the victims of other people, And so, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I really do think it's going to help people get help, when they need it. And, lots of veterans are there. They need
Well, the
some
military
help.
is kind of a drinking culture.
It is.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's socially acceptable, and then that transfers out, and then it becomes a coping mechanism or a scapegoat. When did you know that enough was enough? What was your breaking point?
Oh gosh, I didn't really have this rock bottom moment like a lot of people do. I kind of just recognized, and there were people in my life that were telling me, I think this might be a problem. But, I cut out drinking completely for almost 2 years, I want to say. And then, I reintroduced it into my life, and now I don't have issues. But I loved the mentality that they wanted us to carry on the podcast, which is that abstinence isn't for everybody. There's not one recovery modality that works for everybody. And so it was nice allowing people to tell their stories and kind of just be open in the way that they wanted to be.
Well, I think it's a really cool way to be able to have people come in to be able to talk about it, kind of destigmatize it. We've seen
100%.
so much of that in the mental health space, within the veteran space. And
Right.
I think veterans are really kind of leading the forefront on that, being able to address some of these things and kind of shift the culture. What was some of the maybe the nuances or things that kind of jumped out, like as you ventured into this topic, that kind of stuck out when you're recording of maybe moments of vulnerability or a different way in which you're trying to kind of communicate this?
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't want to spoil anything that like was said on the podcast.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
There was a
Tell
lot
us
of
everything.
there were a lot of people
maybe one
that,
spoiler. No spoilers.
there were people that shared things that they've never shared publicly before. And so that was really cool. I shared things that I've never shared publicly. But it's funny that you say we have like a drinking culture in the military, because we really do. And it's funny because a lot of times you're talking about like we do high risk things in the military. You generally want that to be tied to high reward as well. But there's really no reward for drinking too much. I don't think anybody's gotten to the end of a night of like a lot of drinking. They're like,
Hangovers and
we're
loss
really
of,
great.
Loss of a paycheck, probably not. And a DUI and a Article 15 is definitely not the top priority list for sure.
Yeah, but we talked about the culture, and there were people that experienced in their time in the military. People would say, I don't trust somebody if they don't drink, because we actually had a guy who had decided to stop drinking before he joined. And so how like that created some problems for him at
That's
times.
interesting.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. And he still to this day does not drink. He just doesn't consume alcohol. It's a personal choice. But it is funny that it is so inundated in military culture. But we also have these punitive actions we take if it gets out of hand. And
Right.
it's interesting.
In 2022, it was around like New Year's Day, starting into it, and I was just like, you know what? I don't really remember a time going back to like college into military, where like more than a week had passed without me being drunk.
Oh yeah.
And
for
I was
sure.
like, I don't even know what it's like to be without alcohol and be sober. And I was like 38 years old. I'm like, don't I maybe just like owe it to myself to maybe just see what that's like?
Right.
And I've only maybe had a handful of drinks since then. I just completely so not complete and total abstinence, but it was for a while, because I was just like a high functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I had to show myself. And then what I saw was it was causing so much friction between me and my wife.
Yep.
Even my kids having around it, that they didn't really have a vocabulary set to be able to do it. Now that they're a little bit older, and even if somebody just like at some kind of event or something hands me something, they're like, Dad, did you tell me you don't drink anymore and stuff like that? And I was like,
Oh,
man,
they're keeping you
yeah.
honest. That's right.
They do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe, you don't drink. What's your reason?
I've never been drunk. And honestly, part of it is I grew up and, hey, Mom, forgive me, but I grew up in an AA house.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of uncles and people that were my family. And
Yeah.
I lost a brother to alcohol, tried to get around a couple of vehicles on a motorcycle and didn't make it right in front of our house. So when I went in the military, and to be honest with you, it wasn't like this hard line decision for me.
Sure.
It was just, I didn't. And then I got hurt, lost my leg. I come back, I get off all the meds. I got a family, and I'm like, it just seems like a really dumb thing
A
to
dumb time to
start
start.
doing.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm an all or nothing guy, and I know that. And so I'm like, if I'm gonna be drunk, I'm gonna be the best one you've ever
Oh,
seen.
for sure.
So I
God.
just decided
I'm so
not
good
to
at
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
But there was friction.
Yeah.
Especially as a corpsman, you show up and with Marines, and they're like, "What's up with this guy?" But I think you get out there and you fill sandbags with them, and for some reason that's what a good corpsman does. They don't care if you know how to do your job. It's if you'll get out there and dig holes with them, they go, "Doc's all right."
If you'll be in the trenches, I mean, there's something to be said about that for sure. That shared suffering that we all go through in the military. But yeah, other than that, I've been doing keynote speaking. I love speaking at different units, balls. I've been doing stand-up comedy. That's been a lot of fun.
Wait, you're funny?
He's trying something new. Let
Damn,
him finish.
guys. Right from the
If
horse's
she
mouth.
likes you, she just gets meaner and meaner. So
I
you
do.
Just so you know.
I
Where are you doing
love.
your stand-up at?
So there's some local places in Killeen, but anytime anybody
Okay,
asks
okay.
me to, I'll show up and I'll tell a couple jokes. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I found it's very healing for people using that humor. And even at the end of filming, this podcast on problematic drinking behaviors, there's the jokes that fly around at the end of the episode, like, "Hey guys, drinks are on the way, don't worry." Like, and I love that veterans, we will joke about anything. Like, we'll make sure everybody's safe
It's
first.
a relapse check.
Yeah.
Everybody's good.
We'll make sure everybody's safe first, and as soon as you find out everybody's safe, that's what you get made fun of for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And it's just great. I love the culture.
I love our community, that we have that dark sense of humor, that we can poke fun at ourselves.
Yeah.
but also do that buddy check when it's really, really needed.
For sure, yeah.
So I follow you. Listen, you are
Everywhere
fucking,
you go,
are
she
fucking
stalks you.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's kind
All
of weird.
joking aside,
Yeah.
and I'll be on a desk scroll and I'll just stop on you. Like I don't stop on a lot of people, but I definitely stop on you. Where if alphas aren't aware of where to find you, where can they find you?
Sure, yeah. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn now too. So if the only thing
Oh,
you've got
I'm
is
so sorry.
Super
LinkedIn,
professional.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because
Did you say LinkedIn?
I started I didn't think LinkedIn was the venue for my content, and then I saw my videos on there, and I was like, I want to get credit for this, and
With
so
the
I
only
started posting my stuff on LinkedIn, and so now I'm up to like 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. I'm on X, pretty much everywhere, every
It's
major
the only
platform.
funny person on LinkedIn. So you really
I didn't know you
cornered
could
the
be
market.
funny
the
on
bar,
LinkedIn.
the bar is like 2 inches.
Yeah, I was about
I've
to
seen
say.
some funny resumes, but that's different.
That's very different. Yeah.
So what are we gonna do to get
wait,
you on
I'm so
hot ones?
curious. Who's sharing your stuff on LinkedIn? Like some corporate CEO?
Lots
like
of
check
people.
this
Oh
out.
Like
yeah,
20,000
God,
people.
everybody you can imagine. I literally had like a general officer who like somehow got my phone number, and he called me, and he was
Was
like,
it like, I think about you all the time. Call me.
yeah, he called me, and he was like, this is Brigadier General Smith or whatever it was, and I was like, oh crap, am I in trouble? And he was like, brother, I love what you do. He's like,
Can I
you
get an
say,
autograph?
he's like, you say all the things that we can't say, and I love it. Please keep doing it. There's a Canadian general officer now that like quotes my videos in his staff meetings. His staff reached out to me. He's a Canadian 3-star.
Check out
And
this
so-
funny guy, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's
it's so
that
funny.
on the boot down there?
I have this series where I say that's yummy for me or that's not yummy for me, and so he'll say it. He'll be like, "That plan is yummy for me. Let's move.
Oh my
let's
God.
move forward with
That's
this."
See all the
leadership,
stone
baby.
faces and wide eyes, like, what the hell is he?
This is a
Talking
yummy
about-
attack.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
Yeah. No.
This is tasty morsel.
Yeah. But yeah. No. It's been great. I really do think that I'm having a positive impact on the community, and the response has been overwhelmingly good. You know, some people have their misgivings with it just because it is different. It's different than what we're used to. You know, we're used to not having a social media presence. And now I'm trying to help the Army as well with its social media presence.
Well, you've branched out. And that's what's wild is that you have crossed that chasm between us and the civilian population.
Right,
There's
yeah.
a lot of people who love your content, who are, you know, and I'm sure it started with like military spouses and stuff like that, sharing stuff with their
Sure,
family.
yeah.
And the next thing you know, man, you're all over the place. You're world famous now.
I feel like I, you know, have become in a way like a translator for civilians, because there is this like,
Yeah.
you know, there's this iron curtain in between civilians and the military. We really do have our own culture. It's like a subset of American society. And, you know, but it's not like we all go through the same stuff. Like we, especially as an officer, you deal with a lot of things that people deal with in the corporate environment. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like, we deal with teams. Everybody hates teams everywhere. Doesn't matter if you're military or civilian,
Yeah.
but it's been a lot of fun. And now I'm actually piloting a program where the Army's using social media content creators to help bolster its messaging. We went to the Army's birthday. There was like 9 of us there. We did 24 million impressions over the course of about
Dang.
5 days. And so they did the math on that. And to get that kind of reach with ad spend, it would have been about $5 million. And so, yeah, it's really cool because now I feel like I'm benefiting the American taxpayer. I feel like I'm benefiting the junior service member, because that's who I make content for. I make content for the junior service member. And that's we deal with so many things, and a lot of things seem petty, but when you're dealing with a dozen or more petty things every week, it's no longer petty. And so it's good that we can laugh at ourselves, and it's good that we can joke about, like, why are we standing in formation for 3 hours? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just those normal military nuances.
Well, it's great. We're all thinking about it, and humor is such a lens to be able to just be more relatable, to open the conversation
100%.
for so many different things. And I really love the way that you're navigating that in so many different areas. And it sounds like getting a lot of outreach, international outreach from the top. How do you handle that outreach? Because you have quite a large following on so many platforms. Are you just getting inundated with like DMs, like funny things, like people asking for help and stuff like this? Like, how do you manage all that?
So I look through my DMs every day, and really who I'm looking for is people in crisis. And so I talk to those people. Those are really the only people that I message in any kind of like significant way anymore, because I get so
Inundated,
many.
yeah.
I get so many. But yeah, managing it has been challenging, and I do feel like I have a responsibility. I need to make sure that I'm putting stuff out that is, you know, I mean, I want to stick to my brand, and my brand is making as many people as possible happy. You know, I have a business associated with this, and I tell people all the time, I'm living my dream because I get paid to make people laugh. And like that, I couldn't have built myself a better life than that.
No.
You know,
Unless you're a warrant officer. Nobody, you answer to nobody. Nobody knows what you do.
I drink coffee like a warrant officer.
There you go then. Or chief.
Yeah.
There we go.
Honorary chief.
Off the top of your head, do you have a good go-to dad joke for the kids?
Oh yeah. What did one mushroom say to the other mushroom?
What's that?
You're a fun guy.
Oh!
Yeah, that is corny.
That's awesome. Pretty incredible.
A groan
Feel free
is
to
as
use
good as a
that.
laugh.
Feel free to use that.
And on that note, don't forget, Alphas, you want to make sure that you check out the Mandatory Fun Day on all the social media channels, and including LinkedIn. So for all you classy folks out there, don't forget, he's an awesome guy. Pretty great. Where and when is this podcast dropping?
Oh yeah, when's the
He's
podcast
an
coming
awesome
out?
guy.
Is there a
Oh,
release
check
date?
your six pack.
Yeah.
Oh, October? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
TBD.
I'm
Well,
Ron.
we'll let you know. Don't worry. You'll see it on my channels.
Come and find us at the Army Navy game. We'll tell you.
All right, Tango Alpha Lima, baby. This is Joe Worley here. I am here with Rod, the president CEO, and the chief of staff, Miss Jennifer, of the Global War on Terrorism Memorial Foundation, and of course Adam, whatever, and Stacy. But they're doing some pretty incredible stuff, and we'd love to hear a little bit about what you guys got going on. Could you give us a little bit of a quick explanation of what you're doing over at the Global War on Terrorism Memorial Foundation?
Well, first, I'll jump in real quick. Really excited to be here at this year's Legion Conference. You know, really thankful for the opportunity to come here and talk with our familia, right? Yeah. Thank you guys and for your continued leadership and sharing the voice of the veterans and their families, man. It really means a lot to us at the foundation. We're listening, trust me. So really excited this year to be able to talk about a new project that I'm really excited to kind of tee up and just kind of set the stage for. But I want to hand it off to Jen, who's kind of been taking lead on this. So Jen, why don't you share this exciting news?
Sounds great. Yeah, thanks again, guys, for having us here today. The Global War on Terrorism is really excited to share that we are going to be launching season 1 of our podcast, Welcome Home, sponsored by the American Legion.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yes, baby.
Heard it here first.
Yeah.
So how did this come about? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the background on this.
Yeah, so I mean, so I've been wearing this for almost about a decade, right? 10 years on this project. And, at the heart of everything that we do, this is not about policy. This is not about politics. This is about people and patriotism. And how do you tell that story, right? And it's by focusing on the people and telling those stories. So what better way to do that than, you guys kind of set the model for this, is telling the stories, sharing of the stories. So, as we have matured as a foundation and we're really excited for some things that are coming up, it's a matter of, all right, let's start telling some of the stories and bringing some of the incredible teammates that I'm blessed to say I work with, like Jen here, and telling their stories.
And Jen, we had the opportunity to go to dinner the other night, so I was able to learn a lot. And you highlighted some interesting things, that there's been quite a lot of challenges just to be able to get where the War Memorial is right now. Can you share like a little bit of those challenges and then how that's led into some of the stories and the people that you're bringing in that you're looking forward to highlighting for the podcast?
Absolutely. Yeah, so much has happened since 2015 when the foundation was formed. So Rod and team, well before my time, had to get 2 pieces of legislation passed to even begin to go down this road of building a war memorial.
And it is long overdue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Long overdue.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I just-
we
that,
got you
but
back
it is
here,
great to
man.
hear that. Yeah.
And one of them was the fact that the war's still going on. And so having the time limit from the time that has to be stopped until the memorial can be built, but what that does to us who are trying to really have a place to come home, to be able to heal from.
Yes.
And so the impact that this is having.
Yeah, so we're building a war memorial for a war that continues today. The global war on terrorism is not over. And something else that we spoke about is that the people that this memorial will honor. So the memorial will absolutely honor the men and women who didn't come home. but also the uniformed wearing men and women who served and sacrificed so much in the global war on terrorism. We call them non-uniformed wearing personnel. So members of the FBI, CIA, many different people that you and I, we all saw when we were deployed, who were doing the things that our service members were doing without the uniform, as well as the family members who supported us so that we could go do all of the things that we did. So the memorial will tell the entire story of the global war on terrorism.
What's the purpose of the foundation, aside from pulling together the memorial itself? Or is it mainly fundraising? I mean, obviously, podcasting is a part of the educational facet of it. What's the overarching theme of the...
Sure. So I think it's a great question. Thanks for asking that. So first and foremost, we have to say that we're not a VSO, right? We have one mission: to organize, fundraise, and build our National War Memorial, at which point then we will manage the programming. So this is what I like to say quite often, is we're building the round table to bring everyone together, to convene this two generations of war fighters together, building the big tent that everyone come in here, or just put our arms around everyone, give everyone a big hug. That's our role as a foundation. So upon completion, on dedication day, which I hope to see you guys there, all right, when we cut the ribbon on this thing, that's when we will step in. Much like anyone who's been to D.C., you see those formal events that occur at the Vietnam Memorial, World War II Memorial, Korean War Memorial, and even some of the other museums and other memorials that exist. That's where the foundation will continue our journey. That's where our continued engagement, our programming, is what people like to say, will kind of step off from that point.
Will the memorial be on the mall in DC? Is that the goal?
Oh, yeah. So so the second piece of legislation that we passed, the first one was to get authorization to build this war memorial. The second piece was to build it on the National Mall within an area called the Reserve. So a quick education, and I won't go too deep into this, but in 2003, Congress deemed the National Mall a finished work of civic art. So nothing new was approved since 2003. Now, there were some efforts that were grandfathered in and had their spaces, but nothing new. So that's what I call it the impossible bill. So when I let the powers that be know that, hey, we want to build this on the Reserve, they're like, Rod, you can't. I said, well, you just don't think I can. I know if I pass another bill, I can. We can do that. And they're like, it's 2019 at this point, and they're like, well, Rod, it's against the law. And that's true. Congress said no mas, right? No more. Yeah. And it is. But I was like, well, this is what the people want. I'm just letting you know the direction. They're like, all right, good luck. We'll see you when we see you. So then in 2021, President Biden passed our second piece of legislation and effectively overturned the apple cart. And got the opportunity to build it. Yeah, at that point.
They saw you that
And so, yes, so the memorial is going to be built on the National Mall. If I'm standing at the base of the Lincoln, 12 o'clock, I'm looking up the steps of the Homburg himself, right? 4 o'clock, cardinal directions, right, will be the Vietnam Memorial. Right. If I go to 2 o'clock, there's that ice cream stand across the street.
Yeah. Joe knows it well. He knows
right
it
there,
well.
Right? You get your ice cream, right? Well, that triangular tract of land is where your memorial will be.
Wow. Interesting. And have you guys put out bids for artisans? Has that already been determined? Where are we at in this process?
Yeah, these are great questions. I don't want to give too much away because season one has a very specific.
There you go, season one, everybody.
Teaser.
Season one has a very specific theme. But what I will say is that we have our lead designer.
Okay.
We have a design advisory council, which is a group of 23 men and women who represent all the groups of people that I mentioned the memorial will honor, who sat down with Rod and had conversations that sometimes the designer was there to listen to, and other times he watched the video recordings. Hearing those men and women share why this memorial is so meaningful and important to them, which ultimately influenced the design. It inspired the design of the memorial because Kuma-san and his team were able to hear from us why this memorial is so important, why now. And so you'll get to hear from some of those people on season one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's been such a journey from an idea to all the relentless nights and meetings in Congress saying you can't, and Rod saying you just watch me, to now having such an incredible team to be on the threshold of this. What does that feel like, Rod? To be here now.
It's I'm humbled to work with the people I work with. What has guided us the entire time is is every no or every like that's impossible I've ever been told was, I just remember who I work for. It's the 3 of you, 4 of you, the listeners. I know who I work for, right? I'm not doing this for me. I know who I work for. And the importance of this memorial, I can capture this real quick story I'll share, is when I first started working on this project. So I'm not one of the founders. They came together in 2015. I joined the team in 2016. Mm-hmm. When I started talking about this memorial, the people that were against it most was us, was our community. Mm-hmm. They were like, why are we doing that? We don't need that. Why are we doing that? And then it kind of shocked me because I was doing it for them. And then I'm like, okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, do you know someone that didn't come home? Does their family deserve it? Or maybe you know someone that came home that's struggling. Do they deserve it? Every single person I asked that to, they're like, yes, absolutely. Okay, good. Stop right there. You think about them. I'll think about you. Right? Because that's why we raised our hand and said the words all 5 of us said, right? It's not about us. It's about you. It's about those who are left and white. That's why I went to war. Not for, like I said earlier, not for policy or politics. It's for people and patriotism. Right. So our warfighter community and their families don't feel they deserve it because they think about others and they think about themselves. But I'm thinking about them. We're thinking about them. And the goal is to impart value onto them. So if they see valued, if they're seen, you know what someone who feels valued and seen isn't going to do? They won't kill themselves. So this memorial will save lives without question.
I just want to add also that I think that we weren't ready. And the reason why I say that, because if you'd asked me 10 years ago if I wanted to jump in a car and go visit all the grave sites of my guys, I don't think I could have done it. I'm just now at a point where I think that I could go do something like that. And this right here gives me one place where I can go and I can honor those guys, and I could start my Mecca right there. I could start my individual journey right there, and gives us a starting point or an ending point or a place where we can just call home to hit it all in one place. So I think maybe they weren't ready, but I think some of us now are circling around to it. I think we are ready. I think now's the time, and I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of both of you guys.
Proud and honored, and it's going to be absolutely incredible for all the reasons that you guys have been talking about. Really looking forward to being able to dive in and hear these incredible stories, to hear about the journeys of what you guys have been able to do to be able to get here. Can you tell us when the show is getting ready to launch, or anything about where our folks can tune in and hear about it?
Yes. So the show will officially launch our first episode the week of September 11th. We recorded a 6-series season. So actually that first week is kind of like an episode where Rod interviews me. Since I'm going to be the host of the podcast, we thought it would be cool for the listeners to get to know me, like who is this woman? And then after that, there will be 6 weekly episodes. And you can find them on the Tango Alpha Lima podcast or the American Legion homepage.
Hey, I've heard of those guys.
Have you? I think they're all right.
They're okay.
Yeah.
They'll do for now.
Joe are okay. Well, hey, Alphas, don't forget, you got to tune in to get, you had a little bit of a tease about the design, about where it's going, but tune into the podcast to learn so much more about the GWOT Foundation, all the great things they're doing, and the people that it takes to make that mission happen.
Right. And just want to say, welcome to our Tango Alpha Lima family.
Yes.
This is, we're glad to have you as part of the team. You guys have to pay for dinner. All the new people always have to pay for dinner, so that's how it works.
All right, fine.
Juice box on them.
Juice box on them. Lean it against a rock or something.
Hey everyone, we're here in Tampa for the National Convention, standing here with the wonderful Miss Alyse. Miss Alyse, can you tell us a little bit about what we're doing here today?
Yes, we are so blessed to have representatives from the American Legion Convention here at our cemetery home. They are taking on 3 different projects. They are, number one, raising some of the stones that have just by time sunk into the ground. We have another group that is going around and cleaning the headstones. And then we have another group that's going around and checking some data entry, making sure everything that we have on the stones is accurate. And it's meaningful for a future project that we're doing. because we're also collecting the stories of those that are interred in our cemetery for future, future history. We're going to have the stories written down, and we're going to have members from the Tampa community read a story. So currently we have 734 stones here in the American Legion Cemetery. We're going to have 734 voices picking who they would like to read and telling their story. And then for our special events like Wreaths Across America or Memorial Day, which we host annually, we'll have a QR code out here, and as people walk the cemetery, they can find out about this gentleman right here, Harry Luft, who was buried and served in the Spanish-American War. And they're going to learn a little bit about his history, maybe see some pictures, and maybe have his story told by a family member.
Where will this be available for people to read and learn about?
We are currently updating the website, which is going to have all this information online.
Fantastic.
So right now it's not available, but when it is, it'll be through the American Legion USS Tampa Post 5 website. They'll have a link for the cemetery, and from then it'll tell about our cemetery, the requirements to be interred here, and again, we'll be able to share some of those stories of our heroes.
Absolutely incredible work you guys are doing. I mean, everybody here's smiling and happy. This is awesome.
Yeah, because they served. I guess they have a heart, and when they touch it, it's a connection that they have.
The community projects have happened for, it's become a tradition with the conventions, and there are a number of volunteers you can see milling about behind us. Can you tell us a little bit about those who showed up today to help with this project?
Oh, it's just a great surprise. I'm not sure how much I can tell you about that. I know that there was another event or community service project that fell apart. And so they contacted us less than a month ago and asked if there was something that we could do. And I said, I'd never have a problem keeping 44 people busy. So please do.
The people in your post can attest to that.
Maybe.
Well, that's a very veteran trait to adjust fire quickly. But it seems like a really worthy cause. You said how many folks are laid to rest here?
734.
And do you know off the top of your head who or what the oldest or the first one that was put in?
I do, but I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Okay. No worries.
I have a spreadsheet. It is a gentleman who is, there's a sidewalk over here, and he's buried almost right in the center of the cemetery. Okay. He was the first. You'd have thought that A1, as it goes, A1, A2, A3, et cetera, would have been it, but nope, he's right in the middle of the cemetery.
Okay.
Prime spot.
Makes sense.
Good real estate.
Yes.
Anything you want to add?
There's a famous person buried here, right?
There is. There's a gentleman named Rondo.
Go ahead and let Joe ask that. Yeah.
So there's somebody here who's famous, right? Well, I mean, everybody, of course, is important, but there's somebody who stands out, right?
Not infamous, Joe. Famous.
That's me. I'm infamous.
You're definitely infamous.
All of that. There's a gentleman over here. His name is Rondo Hatton. And when he was in high school, he was voted best looking. He went to serve.
I was not.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, we can show you the pictures of Rondo before and after. Something happened. He contracted a disease, and there are conflicting stories about exactly what that was, but it caused his face to become disfigured. He had been a writer for the local newspaper, the Tampa Bay Tribune, and then went off to serve. Again, had this disfiguring disease, and he ended up going to Hollywood and making movies, and he was the monster in a lot of movies because of his disfiguration. He didn't need makeup or prosthetics.
That's pretty brave. I mean, he obviously didn't lose his tenacity to want to put himself out there like that.
You gotta have a real sense of confidence to go into that. I always look up to people who are very unique looking, who use it to their advantage. I mean, there's got to be some advantage to being so different from everyone else. Mm-hmm. So, but that's incredible. I'm gonna have to look that guy up. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks for sharing.
Hey, don't forget you can volunteer in your own communities. Things like this are just a click away if you can coordinate that. So don't forget. USA 250, get your volunteer hours. If you get your community together, you can do something like this to get those hours banked up and for a good cause. Thank you so much for your time, Alyse, and thank you for hosting this crew to help with this project. It's a meaningful one.
Keeping all these people busy.
It was such an honor. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thanks. It is hot and sultry in Tampa, but it's getting even hotter because we're here with the past National Commander, Denise Rohan. Denise,
hi there. Thanks for having me. You know, people from Wisconsin don't go south in the summertime.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
You know,
there's a good reason.
There's a reason. Hopefully we'll come back down like in January or February, but yeah.
But what a great spot.
It is
what do you
a
think of
great
Tampa
spot.
so far?
It is wonderful. I'm trying to remember if I've been here before, but I don't think so. And I've definitely not been in this location before because this cemetery that we're working on is amazing. And the fact that a Legion post is attached to it, that's what we do. It's what we're all about. It's one of our pillars. So, yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about how the community events got started or what we're doing here now.
You know, when I first heard about the service projects, I thought, you know, I grew up a Girl Scout, and as a Girl Scout, they said, you need to leave, wherever you go, you need to leave it better than what you found it. And then we come into a community, and people are like, what is the American Legion all about? And I know there's a misconception about what the Legion's all about. And by us being out in the community, wearing shirts that identify ourselves, we had our trademarks on that we're the American Legion and we're volunteers. When the community sees us out there doing work and giving back to the community that we're coming into, they might be a little bit, you know, curious.
Yeah.
What exactly is the American Legion? And they might actually walk in one of our doors and go, hey, what's the Legion all about, when they see us here. And we are so thankful that they're welcoming it into Tampa and all the places we go. But these work projects are amazing. You get to meet your friends that you haven't seen for a long time. It's like a family reunion.
Or that you haven't met yet.
That's true.
Sometimes.
You haven't met yet. Yeah. Yep, it's
I
all
thought it
fun.
was great because I actually passed by a dozen people I saw at the last convention and made connections with. So this is really nice. I think that's good.
It is amazing.
And I think with the community projects like this,
Yes.
it allows, as you said, the community to better understand Legionnaires
Exactly.
and what we bring post service back to our hometowns.
Right.
Which is just more service.
More service.
More service. It never ends. This is what we do.
I think that's what defines the military veteran in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, when we started getting ready for USA 250, and we're working on the challenge for USA 250, there's so many people. There's like the national people are saying that, as in Washington D.C. legislator type people are saying, oh, you need to do something to give back to your community, and we need organizations to do, you know, teach kids about what it means to be an American. And I'm like, well, that is the American Legion. So we don't need to do anything different. We just make it more public and make it more visible, and that's why we have the America 250 thing going on. And you got the shirt. You're going to get the shirt if you don't have it
I've got
already.
the shirt. It's on the way.
Okay.
It's Oscar Mike.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So it's all about teaching our kids what it means to be American, giving back to our communities. That's what we do. That's, you know, just because we took our uniforms off doesn't mean we stopped service.
Yeah.
And we'll always be serving.
Well, I think it's interesting that you said there needs to be more attention to volunteerism and Americanism.
Right.
But I think it's also wonderful that the American Legion and those who, whether it's the auxiliary or the Sons of the American Legion or anyway, doesn't matter what facet,
the whole family.
The whole family. It doesn't matter what part of the family you're part of. We don't ask for anything in return. We don't go out there and ask for the accolades and the attention and wearing fancy T-shirts. So I like the challenge.
Yep.
But I think we, at the heart of it, have always had that first and foremost as putting country first, America first.
Yeah. So. And then it's like we do all this work, and then we're supposed to fill out a consolidated post report to report that we did all this stuff. But the truth is, we do all that work, and then we go on to the next project.
Yeah.
We don't sit down to say, oh, look at us, we just did all this stuff. We just go on to the next thing, and that's exactly what the American Legion is all about, what the family is all about. I'm not just going to say the Legion, because we are so much stronger with the Legion, the auxiliary, the Sons of the Legion, and the Riders are doing amazing stuff for us. So, yeah, just being out there, letting people see what we're doing.
Leading by example.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing to say. Yeah, perfect.
I mean, this kind of thing is one of those things that's fulfilling, and sometimes, you know, on mornings You come out here and it's nice and toasty. I won't complain because they've been out here working all day, but it's nice and toasty. But when you get done with something like this and you go home, it fills your spirit up.
Exactly.
And so, I just absolutely want to commend you guys for this because this is incredible. This is very inspiring.
Yeah, it's fun. And you feel good about it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, everybody, Denise wants you to get out there in your communities. Don't forget, join the USA 250 Challenge. Make those hours count. Lead by example in your communities, as you already are. Let's just make it a little more visible this time around.
Exactly.
Let's show off this QR code. Check out that bad boy. Yeah, we're going to zoom in on that.
I don't have the muscle.
Oh, no, you look
fine. Get your best Rosie pose.
There
you go. Hey everyone, we're here with Donna Michaels, a Navy veteran and the founder of Heroes United to Heal Foundation. Donna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have another Navy veteran. We don't have many Navy veterans on here to talk to. It's always Army, which I'm not even sure is a real branch.
Well, maybe it's because they're the biggest branch.
Yeah.
So just sheer statistics.
Yeah, statistically speaking, yeah.
December 13th, it'll be decided. Go Navy.
I think we're going to do a back-to-back on this.
I think we are.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't have any skin in this game. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, Donna. Where are you from?
I am actually originally from Florida. Moved to North Carolina, joined the Navy right out of high school in 1989, and then went to the Azores, then Panama. Was blessed in getting assigned to a special warfare unit. Got to be work around Navy SEALs in a support role. And then after, it was the early 90s when they did all the big defense budget cutbacks, kind of floated through my 20s like everybody else, didn't know what to do, how to find myself. And then I got recruited into law enforcement.
I did that all the way into my 40s. I'm still doing that right now.
He's floundering.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
I'm doggy paddling through life.
Yeah.
So you spent how many years in the Navy?
I did 4 years active and then 4 reserves.
Okay. And so were you in the reserves when you got into law enforcement, or did one come after the other?
One came after the other.
All right.
Yeah. The budget cutbacks just kind of killed everything. So it phased out.
What drew you to law enforcement?
And that's a great question. So while I was busy trying to find myself, I was working a second job in a jewelry store at a mall. And we had an off-duty sergeant that would work there, and he'd come in all the time, and we talked military. He was a Marine. And he recruited me, literally recruited me, and said, no, I'm telling you, you need to come. This is where you need to be. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I used to be the getaway driver from bar fights. And he goes, no, trust me. And he was right. I fell in love with it.
So had you already hit that point where you get out and you don't realize that there's something wrong? Because you're a part of this big thing. You get out of the military and no one warns you that there's going to be a big hole in your life where you're touching the world. And you don't realize it because in the military, it feels like you don't realize the scope and the breadth of what you're doing until it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
And so you sit there in these moments and you're doing these jobs, but everything, no offense to anybody, any normal job, but after you've been in the military, everything just feels a little silly.
Yeah,
what am I doing all this for?
Absolutely. I used to apply for jobs and it's like the language was different from the corporate world to the military world. And, they looked at my age. I didn't have a degree. Yeah. And they didn't understand. As a yeoman at a spec work unit, I was handling $1 million budgets at 20 years old. And you get into the civilian world and they didn't understand just because I was young didn't mean I wasn't qualified.
Uh-huh.
So it was a big struggle not being on the same page or much less in the same book.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When you got into the law enforcement community, did you feel like coming home in a way?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I tell people all the time, once you have had the camaraderie that exists in the military, especially in a special warfare community, which is a small, tight-knit community, I genuinely don't believe you'll ever find it anywhere on that level. Yeah. But I will say that it was nice to be part of a greater good, which is what I was missing, and to have a team and to be able to speak a language with others and share similar experiences. So yes, that part, but the part that was missing was the after hours when it was time to get off work. Nobody broke bread together. Nobody did things together on weekends. It's not like it is in the movies, right?
Sure.
And that part was still missing.
Got it. Because there's a forced proximity in terms of military, especially if you're on a ship in the Navy or underway.
Or far overseas.
Well, you
Or
build
overseas,
micro
yeah.
families.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have people that year to year you do Thanksgiving with. Because not everybody's in the military's family will or can come visit, and so you just build these little micro families where when you're sad, when you're bored, these are the people that you talk to.
100%. 100%. And then in the end, that's what saved my life 20-something years later. So out of all those years I was a cop, I always gravitated to my veteran brothers. We always stayed in touch, all those years, decades.
Military
to this day,
veterans.
the military veterans.
Okay.
Decades later, we're all still we're family.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, you're 100% right.
You were a yeoman in the Navy. What did you do in law enforcement? Like a beat cop?
Started out as a beat cop, driving a patrol car in the worst parts of Orange County, which is Orlando, Florida. It's not all pixie dust and Disney. And then eventually,
It's different kinds of dust.
oh yeah, right.
Angel dust.
Yes, exactly. I remember we had a guy from NYPD. I was training him once. He left New York. He goes, "Y'all got hoods just like we do." I go, "Yes, we do." But so I eventually became a detective. And then when I became a mom, I needed a job that allowed me to keep like mom hours. So I ended up working in our youth services division, and I absolutely loved it. I loved having a positive influence on the younger generation and being a mentor. I didn't ever think I would be something I would enjoy, but I fell in love with it. That's what I did.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was talking about learning hard lessons and realizing the importance of trying to teach those lessons to other people softly. And because I think we grow up and people tell us things and it just goes in one ear and not the other. And then you get older and you're like, oh man. And it's like as you age, you realize that you don't know as much as you thought you did, hopefully. And I think that it's great though that you find that moment in your life where you're like, if one person really listens to what I have to say, everything that I've been through, if I can take my hard lessons and teach it to one person softly, it's worth it.
Absolutely. 100%. And that's pretty much what gave me the courage to put the book out.
So let's talk about that. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and then also about the Heroes United to Heal Foundation?
Absolutely. So in 2007, June 1st, 2017, it was the first day of school being out, and it was summer, so I was back on the road answering calls. And I responded to a call that was extraordinarily traumatic involving the death of a 2-year-old. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't the first one in my 18-year career, but it was the one that broke me, to be quite honest. And I went to a very dark place. I did experience a trauma while I was in the military that I had never dealt with. I pretended it was a bad dream and it never happened. And when my trauma box blew up that summer, all of my traumas came out and I went into a dark place. And it was my Navy SEAL brothers that recognized that the red flags, and they buddy checked me. One of them gave me my dog as a puppy, and they talked me into getting help. They said, look, we've all been there. We know the demons. We're familiar with them. We promise you can do this. And I was so afraid of losing my career. I was 18 years on the job and close to retirement that I thought, no, if they know I'm dealing with this, they're going to let me go. Right.
Dude, that's a straight up problem.
This
is your story, so I'm not trying to jump in, but I will say, I think that therapy should be mandatory so that no one doesn't do it for fear of their job.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Or at least acknowledging that mental health is health.
Yes.
It is.
It's an injury. It's an honest to God injury. So long story short, I journaled through therapy. I did get help and I journaled. And then after people started hearing, I started getting better at talking about things. And people were like, wow, you've had a wild, crazy ride. You should write a book. I said, no, absolutely not. And then tragically, a friend of mine who was a Marine committed suicide. And after everybody been bugging me, I said, you know what? I might embarrass myself, but if it stops one person from hurting themselves and taking their lives, it's worth it. And I put it out there, and it surprisingly took off in the veteran community first, and then the first responder community. And then I started getting overwhelmed with people wanting to know, how did you do it without losing your career? So that inspired us to start the nonprofit organization, Heroes United to Heal. Our entire board is mostly veterans. Some of us are both veterans and first responders. Yeah. We've partnered with a PhD who's a combat Marine / retired cop, now a doctor in Montana. And we have a wonderful family in Texas that allows us to use their private ranch in Montana in Paradise Valley. And
Montana is beautiful.
And this is literally where Yellowstone is filmed, right? Paradise Valley. And it's a 36-acre ranch. We get it all to ourselves. Our team of 4 goes out there. We do a 2-hour curriculum every morning explaining the science of what PTSD and TBIs are. It's an injury, and we make it make sense to them. So, and then we get them talking not only with our stories but with their own. They do equine therapy one day. They do fly fishing. We have all of these amazing activities that are known to be very healthy. And we get either early intervention, those that are trying to come to terms with their symptoms, or a lot of times we're getting the folks that are ending the near their career and they're afraid of what comes next. Or we've got folks that have been through maybe substance abuse or rehab and are going, now what? And they don't know where to go next. So we're trying to find them a healthy vice, a healthy outlet, right? So we introduced them to all this really cool stuff. And then before they go home, our team has already researched where they're from, found their local Guitars for Vets chapter, found their local Heroes on the Water chapter. And we give them a package of all their local resources so they can continue when they go home what they learned in Montana. And of course, we do follow up and we check on them and things like that. And
Catch a Lift, by the way. I don't know if you know about Catch a Lift. They'll pay for gym memberships.
Oh, very neat.
Yeah, I haven't worked with them, but we had conversations with them prior to COVID, and then the world worlded.
Yes.
But look into, because that might be another avenue, because
we're looking for all of those kind of resources, because that's what happens. A lot of our heroes, they don't even know these places exist. Yeah. So our job is to teach them about it, let them experience it, test drive it, and then give it to them when they go home so they can keep going. When they leave, they also get reimbursed for their airfare. So in the end, it costs them nothing. And our entire board, like I said, is all volunteer. None of us collect a salary. Every dollar we earn goes to supporting these retreats.
That's pretty
so
great.
The heart's in it. That's incredible.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, so your book's title is Courageously Broken.
Yes.
And it was your journaling?
It started out as my journal, my diary, yes.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit, like, is there ever a time where you look back on the writing and reflect on where you were versus where you are now, and something that you would like to tell young Miss Michaels about what's to come?
Oddly enough, it's like the first page and a half is, I never in a million years, on the surface, I'm a single mom. I have a very, not rich, but comfortable life. I've got my retirement. I got my benefits. I own my dream car. On the surface, I look so perfectly mainstream and normal. Yeah. You would never know when you meet me or see that I've had this insane life that I've had, right? So looking back, to answer your question, are there things I might have done different? Sure, I think everybody could say that. But at the same token, I look back at some of these negative things that happened, and I think, everything really happens for a reason, because that thing I wanted really, really bad, and it was really bitter over because it turned out the way it did. If that hadn't happened, it wouldn't steer me in the other direction, which ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. So yeah, absolutely. It's I look back now and I wonder how in the world I've gotten to where I am today. And I can tell you one thing's for sure. If you'd have told me when I retired from law enforcement, sorry about my dog shaking. If you would have told me about,
blame it on me.
When I was retiring from law enforcement, I was going to be the author of a book or running a nonprofit charity, I would have laughed hysterically. That's crazy. I thought I was going to be doing real estate, but my team is why we are. Our president is a nuclear submarine commander, retired. Our vice president is a cybersecurity PhD for the Army and DoD. So I have this incredible team behind me that are in the shadows, but they are the brains, and I get the ideas and I get to tell people about what we do, which is I love doing, but they're behind the scenes 1,000%, making it happen. I'm very, very blessed.
You're always a mix of the people you surround yourself with. And you'll generally find yourself in the middle of those people. And not to say that you should only hang out with super successful people, but really to focus on people who are pushing forward and who have shown movement. And I think that's what you're doing here today. And then you take the hard lessons that you've learned and you want to take these things and make something useful out of it.
Take the lemons and make them into lemonade.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to. And I think in the end, that's why one of our slogans is find your purpose. Yeah. look at your life, look at the things you've been through, and then use it to find your purpose, because you went through that to possibly help someone else. Yep.
Well, Donna, where can people find not only your book, but about your nonprofit and the activities you've got going on?
Absolutely. Well, if they happen to be here at the convention, we're at booth 717 on the 700 aisle. I'm signing and selling them today. Otherwise, it can be found on Amazon or on our website, which is www.hu2h.org. And that obviously is short for Heroes United to Heal. And anything and everything they want to know about us, they can find there. And I especially encourage people to subscribe to our free monthly newsletter. It's always full of great articles, from anything about mental health to our merch of the month and all kinds of, cool stuff that we're doing. And that's how people also find out when our application's open for the next group of retreats that are coming.
Outstanding.
There you go, Alphas. Check out Hotel Uniform, the #2uniform.org for everything that's coming up. Get that newsletter and learn more about Donna and the great things and her book as well. Thank you for your service, Donna.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. It's an honor to be here, honestly.
Go Navy.
Go Navy.
We are here with Bridget Lake of the Protecting Vets Foundation.
Yes.
Happens to be an awesome Navy veteran. And where are you from?
Booyah!
That's it.
To my Navy,
We're racking up Navy vets.
That's
this time.
right.
This
That's
is good.
right.
I'm here for
Yeah.
I'm in Orlando now, originally from Chicago. So I joined when I was 18, and I would have joined when I was 17. But, my mom was like, I'm not letting go of my child.
Is that what she sounds like?
It's a very motherly
Pretty
thing
much
to
just
say.
like that.
Yeah.
Just
I'll
like
never let go.
There's enough room for everybody on that
Mumsy,
door.
I
want
know.
to go serve, Mumsy.
We
Let
will
me
always
join the
revisit the
Navy.
Titanic situation and realize there was room. So you were in Chicago, which I don't arguably listen. Great Lakes, I get it, but still Illinois, landlocked state.
Yes.
Why the Navy?
I've always been attracted to water. We had Lake Michigan right there. I was a swimmer when I was growing up. I was a fish. So I go scuba diving now. It's just one of my things. Like, I tried to be a search and rescue swimmer. I missed it by 2 push-ups.
Really?
Stinking
Wow.
push-ups, which was really interesting because when I was on the carrier, the Roosevelt, for my med cruise, what I ended up doing is I had a friend who was a search and rescue swimmer. She didn't make it back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So her helicopter went down, and I got to see them pack up her stuff and send it back to her family. So there is the pride thing, like, so glad that she was there to support, and really sad that she's gone.
Bless you. Yeah.
All right.
No. So everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. You missed rescue swimming by 2 push-ups.
Yeah.
What did you fall into after that then?
So I was already rated as an aviation electronics technician. When I went to A school, thank God they decided I was O-level. So I got to work on the aircraft. So I was on the flight deck. The rumble of the flight deck is like what I missed the most.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. So
Those
yeah.
are usually for me.
Oh, really?
I'm the crier. No joke.
All right.
I'm the crier. Yeah.
The town crier.
Me and
The
you.
town crier.
That was a dad joke that I ever heard.
Thank you. I'm a dad of 3. So.
That you
Yeah,
know
so
of.
I it was right when in A school I was top of my class. I was number 2 in the class, so I got to pick my orders. And I picked them to California. I was on F-14s in California.
Nice.
And then they yanked all of the women's orders.
Oh, interesting.
And they said, you guys are now on boats. Well, sorry, carriers. And so my orders went from California and this coast to Virginia
When you say
Beach
they
over
yanked
there.
all the women's orders in the whole Navy, or
Yeah.
at your duty station, or
In the-
because they could no longer work on F-14s and
No,
aviation,
because they were
or-
no longer just shore duty. They wanted to put us on carriers now. So anyone that was in training now that was coming in is going to get now they are actually.
So that was a progression of your career as a woman. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
No, it was a great thing.
I hear pulling orders, and I feel like the carpet's being ripped.
Well, at the time, I thought it was a bad thing.
Okay, yeah.
But
until you realize the path that unfolds. Yeah.
Oh man, I got to travel and see 7 different countries, 11 different ports. It was incredible. It was a med cruise on the Roosevelt from 1996 to 1997.
Wow.
I cannot even tell you how amazing that cruise was. Yeah.
I hate to point out the obvious, but you're sitting here amongst us at the American Legion convention.
Yes.
And I couldn't help but notice that you're rocking a back brace, like so many veterans.
I've got it. I've got my back brace on. From working on the flight deck, my back progressively got worse. And so I ended up getting VA disability just a couple years ago, believe it or not, because I didn't know that I could get VA disability.
What made you think you couldn't? That you didn't qualify? Or?
First thing, when we left the Navy at that time, I was 1999, they said, unless you're missing a limb, you might as well forget it.
Interesting. Okay.
What if you knew where the limb went? It went everywhere. Okay, I'm done.
So then from there, I didn't go back until it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and I went to the VA in Baldwin, and I said, hey, here's all my paperwork on my back. And they said, oh, well, in the beginning here, it says that you had mild scoliosis. So what makes you think you have a claim? So I was discouraged, unfortunately. And then, I finally went to Chad Bar Law. They are a VA accredited law firm that helps veterans. We want you to use the VSOs, get as high as you can on your own.
Right.
We're the ones that when you're really fighting for it, that's when you come to us. We actually work with Florida representatives to fight against claim sharks.
Wow.
What is a claim shark? What are we talking about?
So it's illegal to charge a veteran for an initial claim.
Okay.
And claim sharks will do that. They will say, hey, let me help you out with that. You just have to pay me so much money. Now, the difference is claim sharks don't have access to your records like VA accredited attorneys do and VA accredited representatives. So they're able to help you fully. And they would never charge anyone for an initial claim. And a lot of people don't know that. And if you're not in the, American Legion or VFW and you're not in the know, it's easy to get scammed by a claim shark. It's really disturbing.
So they're wanting that 30, 40 or whatever, the check, that first check, they're wanting a big chunk of that.
I've heard so many things. They do things from like taking a chunk of the first 3 to 6 months of your disability. They do it where you have to pay them up front. And that is just wrong. Yeah. Veterans can get these services free through VSOs, and that's the way to go. And then we say, if you're at that last, you just can't fight that last one, go to a VA accredited, either representative, attorney, etc. But make sure they're VA accredited.
So is that how you got involved with them? Because you were going through the process yourself?
So I was
to help you through?
I was denied. They discouraged me. And so I finally went into Jordan Kvek-Guyton. She's our VA accredited rep. I was crying to her. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I've got back issues that are just killing me. I said, I've dealt with some horrific incidences in the military. I was almost strangled to death by another sailor in A school. Wow. Got no support for it. None. So there is a attempted murder case that I left behind because I couldn't do it. I just didn't have it. Back then, they didn't have support like that. Then I went to my AT shop and I was in the VF-32. Go Tomcats! And so then it was one of those, hey, I went and I was with the AT shop the first 6 months on the boat because they needed you. And then they sent me, out of 4 airmen, they sent me, the woman, to the line shack. And I got qualified in 2 months because then that pissed me off. You know how I am. I'm like, fuck this shit. I got 2 guys. I'm like, you're going to want me back? And I'm not coming back. So.
I like your moxie.
Lots of moxie. I'm here for it. Yeah.
So I ended up going into the line shack. Unfortunately, I had a bit too much to drink one day when we were out in port. And so,
as one does,
all my Navy buddies were like, "Hey, he's got a room. Just go sleep it off in there. We'll make sure you're okay." Woke up to him sexually assaulting me, and that was another situation that I ran into. So
I want to pause right there because I think this is a really great moment to say, for all of you out there who are listening that had a military sexual trauma experience while in the service, male or female, I don't care. And it was surrounded, and it was associated with alcoholism or alcohol, anything to do with alcohol, whether you were drinking underage and you didn't report it because you were worried about getting Article 15 or anything like that. Listen, there are services out there. It's never too late to get help for yourself, because the most important factor in all of this is you, your mental health, and your well-being. I've met a lot of men and women both who have carried that with them. And it's never too late to unleash your burden. So thanks for bringing that up. Thanks for your candor about that, because that happens a lot more than
I
we care to
just
admit.
started talking about it 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it happened 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So
that's very empowering. People need to hear it. I'm sitting over here. I can't imagine that type of experience. I have daughters, and there's no implied threat when somebody puts their hands on me. I mean, so a guy like me or Adam's size, there's I've had people walk up and touch me and it has never bothered me. So a lot of people think that it feels the same way when you're a lady that has someone walk up and put their hands on you. And it is not the same thing. I could pick somebody up and throw them through a wall, and not everybody can do that.
I definitely can't. Not with
Well,
this brace on.
I think it's so empowering for you to be able to have processed enough to be bold enough and vulnerable enough to share, because that just wasn't my experience within the military. So I never thought about those things. Now, last fall, we were starting this veterans program at this ibogaine clinic in Cancun, and we had some females and veteran spouses and female veterans that were part of the planning. And they said, hey, we really need to look at having a female-only cohort. And I was like, why would you separate them like that? Why? And they're like, because basically 1 in 2, or is it like 1 in 3 female veterans had a military sexual trauma. And that was mind-blowing to me, just because I wasn't in that world. And so being able to even have programs where they're female only so that they can feel safe enough just to be able to get to that point where they can even process it.
Oh, yeah. It was not easy.
Yeah.
It took, I used to not be able to say it without crying, I said it for the first time in front of men about a year ago, and I was just in tears. So it was really difficult. And when I talked to my attorney, Jordan Kavek-Guyton, literally, we put in the 2 claims right there, and she got me to 70% immediately. It was pro bono, obviously, because it was my initial claims, and they are a very legit law firm. And then what we did after is we appealed the mental health one, because I wrote all these notes about what had happened to me. And when I went to the CMP exam, I said, did you read my notes?
No.
You just said it.
No.
I shut down.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say to this person. I'm like, it's in my note. Like, do you want me to talk about this again? I'm just crying. I'm like, so I shut down.
Yeah.
So I had to appeal it because it just wasn't working for me that way. So,
it's crazy that, they're supposed to be there to support you. It's supposed to be our support network when they can re-trigger you and bring up old traumas without providing a support aftercare. Talk to me a little bit as we wind down this conversation. We're running out of time.
Oh my gosh, I'd be here all day.
I know we can talk to you all day, but tell me a little bit about Protecting Vets Foundation.
Yes.
And where alphas who are listening can find an accredited attorney versus a shark.
Absolutely. So you can look up accreditation first off. There is an if you just say search accreditation on Google, there is a link that you can put in. It'll say like if you have their last name or if you have their state or whatever. So you can put in their name and check. Make sure you check to make sure they're VA accredited.
Okay.
So that's one point. Chad Barr is such a great community supporter. He grew up, he's a huge UCF fan. He went to all of that. Like Lake Brantley is where his kids went. So right now they're just supporting the crap out of that. And so he's always about giving back. And that's why we also do pro bono a lot too when it comes to certain things, because we want to give back and when there's certain scenarios.
Yeah.
So for this, in 2022, they actually started the Protecting Vets Foundation. However, nobody really did anything with it until I got there, because I started a nonprofit before, and I was like, I got you guys. And so now Chad wanted to do a fundraiser golf tournament. And so I'm trying to explain that Protecting Vets Foundation, our mission is to support nonprofits dedicated to healing and serving veterans. So our first golf tournament, that is November 14th at Eagle Creek, right by Lake Nona, in the Orlando area. If you
All
guys
you alphas in the Florida area, listen up.
I know. Yeah, we'd love to have you out there. So it's going to be an amazing event. We've already got like half the team sold. I'm telling you,
Okay.
not even close
Nice.
to it.
All right.
It's incredible. A lot of support. We're raising money for Camaraderie Foundation. Now they heal the invisible wounds of war for veterans and their family members, because we know
Beautiful.
it's not just the veterans
Yeah.
that go through things. It's also their extended network of people that are around them.
True. Bridget, you're an absolute treat. Thank you so much for joining us here at the American Legion Convention. And I love walking by the halls and catching your
I
wonderful
know, I
smiles,
know.
your effervescence, my friends. Stay classy and keep doing what you're doing. Alphas, if you need support, go to American Legion Veteran Service Officer. They will be there to support you. And you can, if you can't get to that next hill, that final hill without attorney support, make sure they're accredited. Make sure you check with your
Yes.
VSO before pressing that button.
Absolutely.
We love you guys.
Thanks.
Hoo-yah!
Yeah.
All right, Alphas. Well, that's a wrap from the 106. But before we do, Stacy, what's been one of your favorite parts of the convention this year?
Of course, the Legionnaires. Seeing
Yeah.
some familiar faces and some new ones. Learning about veteran stories is always really special. Seeing some of the cool vendors. And of course, visiting the puppies at the America's Vet Dogs booth. Always my favorite.
Joe, what about you? You got to eat a lot of food this time.
I got to eat a lot of food. I had ice cream, but we legitimately ran into our first fans,
Yes!
which was really neat.
Yeah.
It was kind of humbling, but also this is the first time that we've all been together. So this has been fantastic. It's just been a great week. What
I
about you,
didn't
Adam?
realize how short I was compared to you guys. Like, if
We're not normal-sized guys, though.
Honestly, the General Assembly today was really great for me, getting to be in there and to see all the service that's just being accentuated throughout the Legion and how much that means. So it's been a great convention. We're going to be taking a week off, but then we have a great guest to come back after the break.
That's right. Well, we've got Ashley Gore-Bolsha, who's going to be stepping in with the Veteran Entrepreneurship Series. You don't want to miss it. Yeah, we're going to be right back at it with the Tango Alpha Lima podcast after that week.
That's right. We're not going anywhere except for that week off. So that's it for the 106. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care.
Bye.